I I don't really know how to start this, or if I should even be doing this, but it's been weighing on me so heavily for so long, and I need to say it out loud. I need to get it out. My name is Sarah, and I cheated on my husband. With our neighbor. She pauses, her voice catching slightly, eyes darting away for a moment before returning to the lens. Mark and I have been together for 10 years, married for 7. We have a beautiful home, 2 sweet dogs, stable jobs. From the outside, we're the picture of a happy, normal couple, and for a long time, we were. Truly. We built a life together, brick by brick, with love and laughter and shared dreams. But somewhere along the way, a small crack appeared. Not a grand dramatic fissure, just a tiny, almost imperceptible hairline fracture. Life became routine, comfortable, predictable. The kind of comfort that, if you're not careful, can slowly smother the spark.
I think I started feeling unseen. Not uncared for, never that. Mark is a good man, a wonderful man. He's kind, steady, dependable. But the way he looked at me had changed. It wasn't the intense, captivating gaze of a man discovering his world in my eyes. It was the fond, familiar glance of someone who knows every curve, every line, every habit. And I, selfishly, desperately, craved something more, something new. That's when Daniel moved in next door. He bought the house on the corner, just a few yards from ours. He was charming, effortlessly so. Always had a smile, a quick joke, and an offer to help. The first time we really talked was when he needed help finding a good local plumber, and I recommended ours. It was all so innocent. We chatted over the fence, waved hello when we saw each other taking out the trash. He was a breath of fresh air, a new face in a well-worn landscape. But then, things started to shift. He'd bring over a homemade dessert he'd experimented with, or offer to pick up milk for me if he was heading to the store. Small gestures. But each gesture came with a look. A lingering gaze that felt different. He'd make eye contact that felt deep. Whispers like he was actually seeing me, really listening to what I said. And he'd laugh at my jokes in a way that made me feel witty and clever, not just politely amused. And I ate it up. God, I hated myself for it even then, but I couldn't help it. The attention was intoxicating. It was like a potent drug, flooding my veins with a thrilling warmth I hadn't felt in years. My heart would do this ridiculous little flutter every time I saw his car pull into his driveway. I started finding excuses to be outside, to water the plants or check the mail, hoping for an impromptu chat. The thrill of it, the delicious, dangerous secret of this growing connection was electrifying. It was wrong, I knew it, but it felt so alive. The guilt was a faint murmur at first, easily drowned out by the excitement. It's just friendly. He's just being nice. There's nothing actually happening. I tried to rationalize it away, but deep down, a heavy, sick feeling started to settle in my stomach every time Mark would kiss me goodnight or tell me he loved me. His warmth felt like a burning brand on my skin, searing me with my own betrayal. Then came the night Mark was away for a conference. Daniel had offered to help me move some heavy boxes I'd been meaning to get into the garage. He came over after work, and we got it done quickly. It was getting late, and I offered him a drink. 1 drink turned into 2, then 3. We were laughing, talking so easily, so openly. He complimented my dress, saying it brought out the color in my eyes. He touched my arm when he laughed at something I said, and every touch, every word, every look was a hammer striking a bell inside me, reverberating with both intense pleasure and a sickening sense of dread. The air in my own living room felt thick with unspoken tension. I knew where this was going, and a part of me, a small, dark, desperate part, wanted it to. I told myself I should tell him to go, that it was too late. But the words wouldn't come. My tongue felt thick, my body numb, except for a tingling sensation that ran through ever.
Nerve-ending. He leaned in, his eyes searching mine, and he kissed me. Gasps. She visibly shivers, a silent sob escaping her. It was everything I'd feared and everything I'd craved. A rush of pure, unadulterated thrill, a jolt of forbidden pleasure that left me breathless. For a few moments, the world narrowed to just his lips on mine, his hands on my waist. It was intoxicating, exhilarating. I felt seen, desired, alive, in a way I hadn't felt in so long.
And then, as soon as it ended, the guilt hit me like a physical blow. A cold, crushing weight that settled in my chest, squeezing the air from my lungs. It wasn't a murmur anymore. It was a roar, a deafening scream of shame and disgust. My heart hammered, not from excitement anymore, but from pure panicked fear and self-loathing. I looked at Daniel, and for a split second, I hated him too, for being the catalyst. But mostly, I hated myself. I felt dirty, despicable, a complete fraud. That night, I cried myself to sleep, the memory of his kiss mingling with the phantom touch of Mark's hand, the irony twisting in my gut. But that wasn't the end of it. That's the truly terrible part. It became a pattern, a dirty, secret little dance of lies and stolen moments. When Mark was at work or out with friends, or even sometimes when he was just in another room lost in a book. Daniel and I found ways, quick, furtive glances across the yard, text messages that blurred the lines. And then the actual moments, always at my house, always when Mark was gone. The adrenaline, the clandestine meetings, whispers, the hushed conversations, the desperate physical closeness. Each time, the thrill was immense, a potent cocktail of desire and danger. And each time, the guilt that followed was heavier, sharper, more suffocating than the last. I was living a double life. Smiling at Mark, pretending everything was normal, while my mind was buzzing with replays of illicit touches or planning the next deceitful encounter. I could feel myself splintering. There was Sarah, the loving wife, meticulously performing her role, and then there was this other Sarah, reckless and selfish, chasing a hollow thrill. The line between them blurred, then faded entirely. I was losing myself in the lies. The pleasure started to diminish too. It was still there, the rush, the fleeting sense of being truly wanted. But it was poisoned. Every laugh with Daniel was followed by a silent, bitter taste of betrayal. Every kiss was tainted by the knowledge of what I was sacrificing. The guilt became a constant companion, gnawing at me from the inside, hollowing me out. My sleep became restless, haunted by nightmares of discovery. I started pulling away from Mark, emotionally, because the facade was becoming too heavy to maintain. His kindness felt like a reproach, his affection like a burning judgment. I looked in the mirror one morning, and I barely recognized the person staring back. My eyes were dull, my face etched with an exhaustion that went beyond physical tiredness. It was the exhaustion of carrying a toxic secret, of constantly living on the edge, of hating who I had become. The thrill was gone, replaced by a profound, soul-deep despair. The emptiness I had once felt in my relationship with Mark now paled in comparison to the gaping void within myself. I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that I couldn't do this anymore. I was destroying myself, and in doing so, I was destroying the man I actually loved, even if I had lost my way. So here I am, confessing to a camera, to anonymous strangers, because I don't know who else to tell. I don't know what I expect to gain from this: absolution, understanding, or just the sheer, desperate relief of finally admitting the truth, even if it's just to the empty air and a lens. The GUI. LT is crushing me. Crying. It's a physical ache, a constant pressure on my chest. I think about Mark, his steady love, his trust, and my heart breaks into a million pieces. I've betrayed him in the most profound way. I've broken something precious and fragile, and I don't know if it can ever be fixed. I don't know if he can ever forgive me. I don't know if I can ever forgive myself. I'm terrified. Terrified of the consequences, terrified of the pain I'm about to inflict, terrified of losing everything. But the alternative, continuing to live this lie, to carry this burden, that's even more terrifying. This isn't just about Daniel or about a moment of weakness. It's about a fundamental failure of character, a profound mistake, and a deep, agonizing regret. I needed to say it. To finally let it out. This is my confession. And it feels like the first honest thing I've done in a very long time. She brings a hand to her mouth, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. The screen fades to black.